AITA for unloading in therapy in front of my younger half-siblings? Me. My dad. My dad's wife. His wife's sons. And their 3 kids together are all in family therapy. I'm 17F. My dad decided family therapy was the way to go because I refused to integrate into the family when I moved here 2 years ago following my mom's death. My dad moved away from me after he and my mom decided to divorce for good. They were on and off until I was 5, and then he just up and moved away one day. The next time I saw him, which was 5 months later, he was living with his wife. Her sons are a year older and younger than me respectively, and they thought it would be great. That it would be so easy to make a family out of kids as young as us. But I was bitter. My dad was gone. He used to show up to pick me up from school on Fridays, and he would take me to computer coding for kids, and then he was gone. I saw him a few weeks every year and he called, but it never sat right with me that he left me for them. Or even that he left to escape my mom. He could have lived closer. 1 or 2 hours. Instead, he moved 32 hours away. Dad always knew I resented him and he would tell me not to. We fought a few times because I didn't make the effort to bond with the boys or then his kids with his wife. And when she tried to get close to me, I would tell her I was there to see my dad and not her. I told him he should move back if he wanted things to get better. Then my mom died unexpectedly. She had struggled with some issues for a while, but I thought things were okay. So he moved me out to him and told me it was our chance to get our relationship back on track. But I held it all in. All the anger and bitterness. They started therapy almost 2 years ago, but I didn't want to be there. Not with them. Then last week it all came out. The therapist told me if I wanted to leave I should wait outside. Dad told me to sit down and take part because that's what they were all there for. To make our family work. And I snapped. I unloaded every single thing that session. 40 minutes of me saying how much I hated my dad for leaving. How this wasn't my family. That I didn't give 2 shits about his kids. Stepkids or wife. That it was about him and me, and when he left me behind for them. He sealed the fact I would never want a single thing to do with whatever family he made after leaving me. It was intense. I cried. I raged. And when it was over I was piled on by my dad, his wife and her oldest son for saying all that in front of the younger kids. Then my dad told the therapist we weren't going back and he didn't have a fucking clue what he was doing. These last few days he has been different. All attempts to bond are gone and now he's just furious I said all that in front of 3 kids under the age of 10. And his wife goes between mad and hurt that I don't give a shit about her even though she tried to be a family member to me.
AITA?
NTA if they didn't want an intense emotional discussion in front of the younger kids they SHOULDNG. BRINV the younger kids to therapy. If they want light and cheery discussions, take them to the park. Not a therapist's office. They pushed you into talking and they just don't like what you had to say. NTA that's what he wanted when he brought you to therapy. It was a bad idea to have a huge group of people in a therapy session like that. You need to talk to a therapist one-on-one and your therapist should have arranged that. You should see if you can go back to therapy on your own. NTA. That is what therapy is for. He forced you to participate. Which you did. It does sound like you have a lot of stuff to work out. Though, are you going to therapy on your own? You might benefit a lot from that. NTA. There was a lot fucked up about that therapy session. You've recognized that you said things in a manner that hurt innocence. But at the same time it sounds like your dad has spent years preventing you from talking to him. about your feelings and his actions. When you were forced to participate in a therapy session because of his willfulness and ego, you unloaded. That is on him. That your dad is running away again from anything resembling accountability for his actions emphasizes to me just how little he wants to address your needs. He seems to have just wanted a therapy mode that would turn you into a properly happy robot. Certainly he never imagined he'd be called out on anything, which, frankly, demonstrates that his purposes for those therapy sessions were not honest. I know you're going to get a lot of advice to try therapy again. Individual therapy for yourself. If you can be sure your father won't have access to the therapy notes, may be a good thing. Please do not reconsider family therapy with your father again until he has shown some signs of being willing to hear and act on criticisms. Therapy with emotional manipulators rarely ends well. NTA. This is what therapy is for. And your dad is an idiot to quit therapy at this moment. Was it the ideal scenario? No. But that's what happens in group therapy. It sounds like your dad was looking for validation of his feelings from the therapist, but hasn't considered that you have your own things to work through. Your feelings and your hurt are valid. What you are feeling is abandonment, and even if he had good reasons for leaving, that's hard for a kid. But his hurt is also valid. He may have been put in a hard place and had to move for a job, and he feels like he lost his kid for it. You guys need to work on it independently, with your own therapists or at least in your own sessions. Even if you strike out on your own at 18, I really suggest continuing sessions, because carrying that for years is burdensome. NTA. He knew exactly what he did. That's why he pushed so hard for you to stay in therapy with them and tried so hard with the bonding. Your dad is toxic and feels guilty about what he did to you and your mom. Instead of taking accountability, he's taking it out on you. I'm sorry you have to go through this. He sounds a little self-absorbed. You should definitely continue therapy in the future without the family if possible, and when you're able to save and safely move out, you should do that too. NTA. You need to go for individual counseling to handle your hurt and anger over the abandonment. You did not ask for family therapy. Your father forced you to be there even when the therapist asked you to step out if you were uncomfortable. The therapist was right. Therapy works only if the person wants to address issues, not when a person is forced. That's where your dad was wrong. But then he has not been the most sensitive person anyways. So I don't think there will be any change in his behavior. He thought the therapist would shame you for not integrating with the rest of the family. He played a stupid game and won a stupid prize. But it's good that the feelings have been expressed in words. You spoke your truth. Your trauma. Do not let anyone minimize your feelings. Your father needs to acknowledge that his abandonment has caused you emotional trauma, and then he needs to take steps to address them. Speak to your father alone after he has cooled down. Tell him that while you are sorry that the children heard your truth, your feelings are valid and you have been traumatized, that he has always minimized it or rug swept it. He caused the resentment to grow because he never actually addressed them, and felt like an outsider looking in because the integration was not properly done. But please seek individual therapy. You need it. You need to address these feelings and learn tools to overcome them for yourself, otherwise it will impact your life in many ways. Better now than later. Best wishes. NTA. What did he think you'd discuss in therapy? The family Christmas recipes? Of course you unloaded, and it's too bad he couldn't deal with his actions having consequences. On the upside, you're 17, so you'll just have to deal with this a little while longer if things work out well. NTA. Dumping your true feelings is what therapy is for. Why are the younger children present in a therapy session anyway? At least you're almost out of the house. Gonna be Antarctic icy for the foreseeable future. NTA. That's the point of therapy. No. You are NTA in this situation. That's what therapy is for, to unload and work through it. Your dad's the a-hole here for not even attempting step 2. NTA. Refusing solo therapy proves your blood relative only wanted the therapy to get you to comply with his wishes, without being able to vent appropriately to a professional. Of course, the mental contents under pressure were gonna blow. All you can do now is lay low. Do what you can to support your future. And possibly get that solo therapy later to manage these intense feelings. They aren't going to go away so quickly even if you perfectly separate yourself from the house. Good luck. NTA. He demanded you to participate in family therapy and you obliged. He cannot choose how you express your emotions just 'cause he wants his kids sheltered. NTA. He shouldn't have pushed you to do this. You should have had a separate therapy session. He knew that there were problems, now he knows all. You probably feel better letting go of all that bitterness. Just let your dad come to you. I would honestly go back to therapy on your own. NTA. I'm so sorry, this is the hand you were dealt. The only positive thing I have to contribute is that it sounds like you have a strong will and a good head on your shoulders. And it won't be long until you're old enough to be out on your own and get the therapy for yourself that you need. I hope you keep us updated in the future because I'm hoping to hear things get better for you. Best of luck in everything. NTA. Your father forced the issue against the advice of the therapist and needs to take responsibility for what happened. Do you have someone you can talk to? It sounds like you are in a horrible situation. NTA. Virtual hug. NTA. Who in their right mind thought bringing in a child with this history was going to help? Yes. It would have been better if it was just Dad. And maybe the wife. But someone decided to force a whole family session and got what they paid for. They need to understand from your viewpoint he abandoned you to go start a new life very far away. Sounds like there might be other factors only alluded to in this story. Regardless, it's a mess now. Only time and full parental support as sets off into their adult life is going to have a hope. And rekindling some kind of relationship with Dad. Best the rest of them can hope for is to be cordial and polite when together. NTA. It sounds like he expected a clean break and to just sort of switch families with no drama or reminders that it happened. That just isn't quite how things work when you have kids. I'm sorry that he's never validated your feelings about the situation. He should have back then. And still should be much more understanding. Regardless of what he was going through in the divorce. It's part of being a parent. Also, as others have mentioned, him being upset about you unloading at therapy is completely ridiculous. That's the point of therapy. What did he expect you to do when he didn't give you the option of individual therapy? In that case, you either sit quietly and get nothing out of the experience, or you speak up and hopefully get help. You chose to do the right thing and then have been continuously punished for it. I think you're smart to ride out your remaining time with them. And then you can decide what contact, if any, you'll have with him going forward once you are out on your own. NTA. Sounds like a real family therapy session, and if it would be that traumatic for the other siblings, the therapist would have interfered.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.